This is a very important video that you're viewing right now, and as you can see, this is highway to Oslo, aka Hell's Highway, and here you can see that there are 4 players on NATO and 4 players on Pact. And now if you listen to some of the forum moderators and admins and game marshals and Eugen team, you know, all that team of social media experts, they'll tell you that what is about to happen here is a quote-unquote clown game, and that they did not want 4 players versus 4 players on Hell's Highway because it would, quote, turn into a spam fest. Now you can look at the overall scale and size of this map and see that it's actually larger than Uppsala, which is one of the most played 4v4 maps. And if you'll remember, Uppsala has about 1, 2, 3 choke points that you have to pass through in order to attack any area. Where you can see here on Hell's Highway that it's all open field, and there are only a very few places where tanks and vehicles cannot pass. Okay, and while on Uppsala, the left and the right, you could only pass maybe 100 or 200 meters to the left or to the right of any of the zones. You can see here on highway to Oslo, there's plenty of room for flanking, walking infantry all the way down and around. And there's more room on the left here. This lake is bigger than the Uppsala lake on the left here for flanking with helicopters. So this was played 2 or 3 days ago. This was used. A mod was used to play this game, and we have questions out on the forums, and I'll show you the link to that towards the middle and the end of this video, where you can go and show your support for all maps to be unlocked. Again, Eugen is unclear as to whether what is going on right now is, quote, hacking and or cheating. And now one more thing, that the starting points were 4,000 points, so each player gets 1,000 points to start here. So none of the economy was messed with at all. You know, we didn't bump this up to 10,000 or 15,000 points. This is just 4,000 points per team to start, and you can see the zones are still low, as if this was a 2v2 game. And what's interesting is that if you played this as a 2v2, as one of those players, you would actually acquire more points than if you played this as a 4v4. So what we see here is that when 4 people get the points that are made for 2, it becomes even less spammy. So after we see the opening moves here, you'll notice throughout this battle here that the economy is actually quite slow, and you could bring on a new unit only every couple minutes. Okay, so far nothing new. We've got a player with helicopters going for Delta, and we have some napalm landing on the road. That's pretty typical, and you know, you'd see that in a 2v2. But again, this map is larger than Uppsala, right? So you know, quite easily 4 people can play on this map without any problem whatsoever. So we had some double napalm, and we'll just we're going to bump this up to 2 speed. Well, we'll keep it at 1 speed for the opening engagements. And you can see some guys flanking here off to the sides. NATO's really bunched up and focused on the core. So the Chinooks are landing. You know, so far I haven't seen any of those, you know, huge clashes of spam armies, right, that you'll find in typical air-land battle games with pre-75 decks having, you know, hundreds and hundreds of riflemen available just to shoot right down the middle. Now you see 4 really well-balanced armies, and you see that the map is big enough to handle all of these. There's no clumping. There's no fear of. There was such a fear by the developers and the social network experts that this is a spam fest. So I'm showing you right now that we were told as a war game audience that 4v4 on Hell's Highway would turn into a spam fest. And I really submit to you right now to point out on any area here at all what this is and if this is at all a spam fest, okay? The battle is very interesting. You know, it looks like a typical NATO rush here, right? NATO's almost got two-thirds of the map under control, right? And Pact is having some difficulty getting their command vehicles into play. But also something you notice, see the T-64BMs and the T-72As here? You'll notice on NATO, all we've got is 2 starships, right? And then we've got some Brennises. So we're definitely overpowered here by Pact. We just don't know it yet, right? So if we look at this from a NATO perspective, here's what we see. And, you know, personally I'm thinking, okay, well, we've got this one in the books, right? I mean, we've got total map control. And it's interesting to see how this battle plays out. If you're looking at Pact, you know, you're quite scared. Because at this point, you don't see how, you know, you see you're getting rushed by both sides. But so far the engagements have been limited to just a few units versus just a few units, and no major spam is going on whatsoever, nor does it throughout this entire game. At this point, you can see our economy is quite slow. We're only pulling in, as a team of 4, we're pulling in 7 points. And if you recall in a map like Uppsala, you know, just one of the zones that's very easy to capture is worth 7 or 10 points. So already in Uppsala we'd be rich men, right? But our reinforcements, you know, we can just bring in 1 unit here or 1 unit there. And you see this opportunity with the special forces going on here, something that just can't happen in a small map like Uppsala, right? And over here with the other Resvedka, just a real good opportunity to micro and have some Rambo action going on. So I will speed it up to 2 times, and we can see how this battle plays out. You look at that, look how even this is. Within 10 points after the first 5 minutes, and there was only 1,000 casualties on each side in the opening engagements, mostly planes, right? So if you divide that by 4 players, that's only 250 losses per player after 5 minutes. So not at all a clown game or a spam fest, as is portrayed to us. And so now Pact is securing their zones. They still out-armor us. Now you have 8 T-72s and 4 T-64s with lots of AA right here, right? We've secured Echo, but there's absolutely no defenses, right? And we have multiple CVs and Charlie, so we're a little confused here, but we're working it out. So we'll just bump this up to 4 speed. And even at 4 speed, look at the new units that are being there. Like 1 Shilka got brought out, you know, and so let's just watch at the ticker. And then 1 recon unit gets brought out, okay? That's within a minute, okay? 2 supply trucks get bought, okay? Another minute goes by. You know, this is how slow the income is for this, which totally is the enemy of spam, right? Income, right? Okay, here we go. 2 infantry units in the next minute, all right? And 1 Sokol, 1 Malka. You know, not 4 Malkas being brought out like you have a lot of money, or 16 tanks like we see in Uppsala and some of the other certified maps. Okay. Here we go. Another minute goes by. We have 1 infantry being brought out. You know, let's see here. Another 2 minutes come out, and I think maybe 1 cub. Okay. Here we go. Another minute goes by and we have 2 supply trucks. So you can see these lines are very well drawn. The battle lines are getting drawn up. We have skirmish going on here, a tank battle going on here. You know, and that small tank battle right there is the most exciting thing that's happened in 5 whole minutes. So this was absolutely just such a joy to play this game. And if you're looking at this, you know this takes you back to European escalation. The absolute most authentic experience that Wargame has ever offered is a 4v4 on Hell's Highway. It was the defining game mode for any clan play at all. If there was ever a question about who is the better team of four, it was always settled on Hell's Highway. It's just an absolute classic. 4v4 Hell's Highway. And I believe back in European Escalation, I think you could go higher than 4,000 starting points. I think you might have been able to go 6, I'm not sure. But when I'm making this video, I'm asking Eugen to unlock the maps. I don't want the economy to be unlocked. I'm not interested in that. You know, maybe you're interested in that. Let them know. That's fine. I don't want to mess with the settings. I don't want a ton of points. I just want to play 4v4 on all the maps. You know, I own the maps on my computer. It's simply the mod that I installed here is no larger than the DAT file that Wargame already puts out. So it's quite literally a few lines of code that need to be activated for us to be able to play 4v4 on Hell's Highway. And you know, look at this. This looks like a great battle, right? And that's why this was always so great, because there is a narrow strip of open land without silly choke points, right? If you wanted to pass, you had to take a mixed army and push, and then you had to push consecutively down the field. That's all there was to it. In something like Uppsala, it's all about how fast can you drive your vehicles through a mess of burning napalm and get to the other side. Quite simply, it's just or how patient are you to sit back and defend while your enemy is being ambushed? You know, this is just such an authentic battle, and so I wanted to share this with you, the entire community. Let's bump it up to 6 speed. And look at this. We're 24 minutes into the battle, and now the battle is swinging back into packed favor. So a very dynamic battle where NATO came out fast, but Pact came out slow and strong, right? And so now we're getting ambushed here, and NATO's getting ambushed in area that they thought they had. And now we're getting a huge flanking maneuver down here. We don't even see it coming whatsoever, you know. As NATO, we can't see any of this in the woods here. So just a great hidden flanking maneuver. So that, you know, if you've been keeping an eye on the reinforcements, just a few things come in every minute, right? And Pact starts pulling away with the lead. They're up by about 700. And this was a game. This was a battle played to. I believe this was total destruction 40 minutes. So we've got 9 minutes left on the ticker. And it looks like Pact at this point really has a runaway, unless in the next 8 minutes NATO can come up with about 800 points just to draw in. It doesn't look like they're in position. I mean, they've got some starships and some reservists. He could push out with the Brennises here, but that looks like a trap with these Fat Joes on the left. And now they're all stunned, so. Now this battle is in the bag for Pact. It was a great battle. You know, get onto the forums. I'll tell you this right now. The reason that maps weren't unlocked. Well, actually, let's listen to the man himself here. Let's talk to why. Let's find out why these weren't unlocked.
Your game, battle. And He's got one criticism, which isn't really a technical one, but all it is that your map sizes are basically set to how many players can play on them. So he says, why can't two players play on a massive map, a 10v10? Why can't four players play on an 8v8? Why limit player choice?
Uh, well, it was a design choice, but as a lot of things, we can revert it. We decided not to put the options.
Okay, so it was a design choice, but Eugen can revert it. Okay, let's keep listening.
Because there were a lot of maybe because we need to improve the menus.
Okay, so maybe Eugen needs to improve the menus. Okay, so maybe they. And let's continue.
But sometimes especially because it's difficult to know which map you are going to play because we don't display the map from the top. This will be added in the new one, of course.
Okay, so in the new Red Dragon, they will show a picture of the mini map in the menu. So based on this, we can assume that all maps in Red Dragon will be unlocked for all player types. Okay?
But sometimes I think we didn't want that player made a mistake to have like it's a huge map made like for a big fight with a lot of players, and then we put it 1 versus 1 on this one, and it's not really appropriate. So it's like we didn't give the choice because the choice can be most of the time a bad choice.
Okay, so what they're afraid of is that the new player, when they're joining a battle, if you remember in European Escalation, somebody would have a game called 1v1 Open Range, and the new player would join that for the first battle ever, and they would be very bored, and then they would go on the forums, and then they would rage. Okay, so right now, Eugen is developing their games to cater to the people who have the loudest voice on the forums. So what we need to do is we need to go to the forums and demand that these maps get unlocked.
And to be honest, if you play 1 versus 1 on a huge map, it can be boring because the map is too big, and it's like 20 minutes to reach the first fight. So, in my opinion, it's not really popular.
Okay.
So
I got.
Okay, so it's not popular. So if it were popular, they would revert back. We need to make this popular, okay? We need to make. Look at the 4v4 here. It is 4v4 on Hell's Highway. 4,200 kills, 5,800 losses after 40 minutes. In no way whatsoever by 4 players was that ever. There's no spam. Look at all these scores. None of these are spammy scores or spammy losses. Everyone had a great time. The one guy that left had a connection issue. And now, if I may, I want to show you one more video of another wonderful experience that we had. Okay, no problem. Okay, look at this, and this was played yesterday. This is a 4v4 on Ragnarok, okay? And this, by far, was one of the most, this was the best, most interesting battle I have ever played on Wargame Airland Battle. And we'll see why. And, I paid attention mostly, I was on the left flank, and so I'll zoom in there and talk about my experience in this battle, and then pan out, and we can look at how the entire battle develops. And this was a no time limit, total destruction. Okay, so it forces you to think about things that you cannot even imagine in any other battle type that Airland Battle has. First of all, your units are so important in a total destruction, no time limit. Once you lose them, they're not coming back unless one of your teammates leaves, right? And so the only way to win this is to kill all the command vehicles, okay? And if you're like me, you really enjoy the map Ragnarok, and you get into a dedicated server of 10v10. Everyone has 1,000 points. You're bunched up right next to each other all across the map, and the game lasts 20 minutes on average. 20 minutes. Because everywhere you look, so if I'm NATO and I'm playing a 10v10, everywhere I look there's just clumps and swarms of armies, and I just drop a bomb on a huge army of things, right? But, in this instance, I'll just highlight mine. Here I am on the left flank. And look at this. Look at this. I am solely responsible for this left flank. It's just me. And the next guy over is over here in Lima, right? Here's him. And then the next guy is here in the middle. And the next guy is on the right. And it's just, the spacing is wonderful. I would suggest that this map is only slightly larger than Open Range, which was a classic 4v4 map in European Escalation. So my question is, why can't we play Ragnarok in 4v4? I think it works wonderfully. Look, there's no gaps anywhere. The map is not too big for 4v4. Okay? And we played this game, and there's no lag, so the size of the map has nothing to do with the lag. I'm not asking for 6v6 or 5v5, and I'm not asking that Ragnarok only be on dedicated servers. I'm saying that this worked really well as a 4v4 map on a public server. And so I know, here's my army, I know this, that I had a dedicated, focused battle for India for a good half hour. And it was me pitting my best units against my opponent, his best units. Now, I will point out that on this instance, both teams have tons and tons of points to play with. I mean, every time you looked up, you had thousands and thousands of points. And I think by the end of the battle, we had 10,000 points in our bank. But here is the critical issue. Even though you have those points, there's only so much you can do. Let's say I called out my entire army right now, and I thrust it forward into Alpha. That means I would have no units in reserve, and that it would have just secured this area of the map had I succeeded. But look at this. There's 7 or 8 other zones, and including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spawn zones. So it was not practical for me to call out my whole army. And I think a player really does limit themselves to calling in just the amount of vehicles they can manage. So even at this point where I have 1,000 points in the bank, you can see I just have one tank line of MBT-70s and Abrams, some AA, some one helicopter, and some mixed infantry, right? And we have this great engagement here, and he brings his Aculas in and cleans up. But he gets a little too aggressive with his Aculas, and I snipe them both, and that was really a game changer. Having him lose those Aculas. But still, now, look, I lost my spawn, so even though I do want to reinforce, and I have the money to, my units will be coming in from Kilo, okay? So again, 4v4 on Ragnarok, then look at this. This by no means is a clown game, which the Eugen social media experts, including some of the marshals and some of the moderators and some of the Eugen team itself have quoted this as being a clown game and something that has caused quote, trolls to rage on the forums because of the game mode. And what I'm showing you right here is I'm going to speed this up to about 8 times. This is just two classic examples of where the map unlocker works so well, and we just, as wargamers, we have to tell Eugen that we want this. Go on the forums if you've played a modded hosted session, and tell them how much fun it was, and tell them how we want to be able to host these on public servers. I want to have a public server where I say, hey, 4v4 Ragnarok, you know, 4,000 starting points. I want to say, hey, I've got a 4v4 on Hell's Highway, 4,000 starting points. And you know what? If I want to have a 4v4 on Battle for the Fjord, I should be able to do it, because what's interesting is that a 1v1 on Battle for the Fjord gives me X amount of money. When I play that as a 4v4, I get X divided by 4 as a player. So at no point are there more units on the map on a 4v4 Battle for the Fjord than there are on a 1v1 Battle for the Fjord. It just doesn't happen. Again, I'm not asking for the economy settings to be unlocked. I don't want to play a game where each team has 50,000 starting points, okay? I just want to play on different maps. I've got over 500 hours. You're watching this. You've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. Everyone that watches this combined has thousands of airland battle hours. And you know as well as I do that we're just bored with the 6 or 7 map choices we have right now, and bringing out 3 Mile Island is not going to solve it. It'll solve it for about a week, you know? 3 Mile Island will be fun for about a week, and but it will become blasé, right? Because we're going to overplay it. What we need right now is that map unlocker to to go from 7 or 8 4v4 maps up to about 14. And look how much fun this is. Look, this was absolutely manageable from 4v4. And now Pact do start surrendering. There is quite the runaway here. NATO has 15,000 kills to Pact 6,000. But you know, you're gonna see quitters in every game, in every Uppsala 4v4. So if anything, this confirms that it's a standard game. Hey, Tired, I'm recording a YouTube video right now, but I'll be with you in just a minute. So anything, this confirms that this is a very viable option for 4v4. Okay, so if you go on the forums, and if you look at all the different topics, if you look at modding, look how interesting this is. Moderators, Eugen team, focus team, okay? This is a very, very hot topic. And when you post something in modding, everybody that actually makes the game is looking at this. Not just these social network experts that are dedicated forum moderators that have zero developing experience, nor are they even on the payroll. But look, if you click on modding, people that actually make the game, they read this, okay? So if you click on modding, okay, and then you look at Nazarak's mod, which is the mod I was using. If you click on that, you can read this entire thread, and you get Marshall's and Eugen Systems team. They're all chiming in, um, and they're all saying congratulations on the mod. This is great. But it's somewhere along here. Mad Matt comes in and he says, this is not allowed, right? You can play, look at this, you can play the modded games you want on privately run servers, but not on ours. And I want you to question him and say, what are you talking about, not on ours? What does that mean? Ours, why don't we define it with some real straight talk? What do you mean by our servers? Here we go. Look at this. We've been made sick of trolls in EE writing pages of game is broken, 6K games on highway is just spam, please fix Now Eugen. So not anymore on our servers. Look at this. If you want to play clown games, you can run it on a dedicated server with warning in the title. Such games on public, oh here we go, aka ours, okay, so now they own the public servers, will face sanctions. And I implore you, did any of this look like a clown game? And you can still see, if I look on my units, this was a hard-fought battle on one flank, managing an army, look at the supply route I had to manage from my fob all the way back here. We're 47 minutes into it, and this was anything but a clown game. This was just simply a hard-fought battle. So if we go back to the forums, we demand to know if we're allowed to do this and why we're not allowed to do this. Okay, and here you go. You can mod and run the game you want on private servers. Okay. If you scroll through some of these pages, you see someone else says you can run this game in a private. You can run this in a private game and just invite your friends. So let's try to find that quickly. Oh, here we go. This is probably the best. This is the most honest thing that anyone said. You all make very good points. I think this came out of the blue, so suddenly it's best just to wait a bit before a formal statement is made in detail by Eugen. And that's exactly what we're all waiting for, is a formal statement, because clearly, if you read through this entire post, there are so many mixed answers on what they... At one point they say you can do it. Here we go. Here's by a moderator. It is allowed as long as the game is hosted privately. So for playing with your friends, no problem. Okay, so I've got a moderator telling me I can. I've got a marshal telling me I can't. I've got no, and then finally I make a point and I ask a very clear question. And I say, if I host a game in a multi-create game and I keep it private and I only invite my friends and I'm using the mod, will I be accused of hacking? Is that a bannable offense? I just want a simple answer. I asked a very clear question, and please only reply to me if you have the authority to ban me from the game. Thanks. So if everyone here could just go to the forums, and whether you want to post in this forum or you want to go to Wargame Airland Battle, and then just make a new topic, post a new topic, and say something like this: please unlock all the maps for 3v3 and 4v4, and say, I just watched some battles and they were not spam, they were a lot of fun. Simply do that, and put in some details. 4v4 on Hell's Highway was awesome. That's all you got to do. The more that we post this, I guarantee you, Eugen will come out. Not only will they say the mod is acceptable, they will patch their game themselves, and we will have access to all the maps, but it's up to us. It is absolutely 100% up to us. I've shown you all the evidence that Eugen will revert the game settings based on the popularity of the audience, okay? So everyone, all my audience, I know you guys, you aren't trolls, so let's get on the forums and let's tell them how much we want unlocked maps. And there, you know, if you get back to the screen, you can see it was, well, Pact really had a tough time. Um, but I, I don't know what to account for that. I know a couple of us on NATO were on TeamSpeak, and that always makes a big difference. But that was a lot of fun. It was not too difficult to manage supply runs. And look at this, a 53-minute battle on Ragnarok, something you'll never see on a typical Ragnarok 10v10. They're all 30 minutes or less. So I had a great time playing both those battles. The two funnest battles I've ever played on Airland Battle. And thanks for watching the video, and let's make this happen. When you click multi, and when you click create, and you click a 4v4, you should be able, look at this, we see 8 maps. You should see about 18, okay? 18 should be there. And tell them that's what we want. Tell them we're fine with the settings, okay? We never need more than 1,000 starting points, guys. Let's just be honest. We never need more than 4,000 starting points. What we need is more maps to play on. And that's all that needs to happen. All right? All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Everyone, until next time, have a great day.